Hi there, Paul Mackey on day 7 of the Dog Days of Podcasting with the second episode of the first season of the Rockford Files. The first Rockford episode has gotten 68 views, and the pilot only a handful. Those 68 views have watched for an average of roughly a minute of it, so I guess it didn't cover what they were looking for. I mean, it is primarily an audio podcast, so I suppose that could be a factor. Oh, and by the way, here we are now at the end of episodes that are mostly done. I still have to harvest the answering machine gag and edit this episode together, along with this intro, but it's substantially more complete than tomorrow's, and I have yet to even watch the episode for the day after that. Every time I figure I can get a head start back, I don't quite get to it. We'll see what you get out of me the next couple of days. Alright, this episode is called The Dark and Bloody Ground, and it originally aired September 20th, 1974. Brief summary. A man is killed in his motel room, and his wife is accused of the murder. Jim is reluctantly hired by the wife's defense attorney, who is working it as a charity case. Husband and wife were at a Tony Bel Air party the night of his death. Multiple attempts are made on Rockford's life once he starts looking into it. After Rockford begins looking into the party, one of the hosts is killed, and Rockford realizes the true identity of the original victim and confronts his killer.
This is Jim Rockford. At the tone, leave your name and message. I'll get back to you.
Hey, Jim, this is Louie down at the fish market. You gonna pick up these halibut or what?
All right, who is? Guest star Walter Brooke, who played Clyde Russell 7 years earlier, uttered the immortal line, "Plastics," to Dustin Hoffman in The Graduate. But today, I'm going to have a look at Noah Beery Jr., who plays Rocky, Jim Rockford's father. Noah came from a showbiz family. His uncle Wallace made his way from circus work with Ringling Brothers to stage musicals on Broadway to the early days of film. Noah's father, Noah Beery, worked in silent pictures and some early talkies. Before appearing on the Rockford Files, Noah appeared in a long list of TV and movie westerns, where he was known for typically playing affable sidekicks to the leading man. On television, he did guest spots on shows like Rawhide, The Real McCoys, Wagon Train, Gunsmoke, and Bonanza. He received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960 for his contributions to the television industry. He appeared in films like Red River, Rocket Ship XM, The Story of Will Rogers, The Fastest Gun Alive, and Inherit the Wind. After the Rockford Files, he made appearances on The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, Magnum P.I., Trapper John M.D., and Murder, She Wrote. He had a series regular role on soap opera The Yellow Rose and appeared in the film The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. He retired from acting and passed away in 1994 at the age of 81. All right, totally 70s. Those gas prices. Obviously, there was fluctuation in the 70s, but these are lower than I've ever experienced, and they were obviously just incidental in the background, so it's the actual prices from the day of shooting. And these are the higher California prices? 57 cents regular, 60 premium? The cheapest I ever paid per gallon was 98 cents, and that was in Laurel, Montana in the early 90s. All right, some artifactoids. Speaking of gas, I was interested to see a Standard Chevron station. I don't know tons about the breakup of Standard Oil, and I'm accustomed to growing up seeing Amoco signage with Standard on it. I've only ever seen Chevron branding on Chevron signage. The article on Wikipedia actually uses these two as the examples. Standard Oil of California became Chevron and served much of the West and parts of the Southeast, while Standard Oil of Indiana became Amoco and served my home state of Minnesota as well as most of the states that I visited as a younger child. I also noticed an iconic 76 ball, and a brief look at the Unocal wiki shows that it merged with Chevron in 2005. Lastly, a scene was depicted at the Clocker's Corner restaurant at the Santa Anita Park racetrack. I see at the America's Best Racing website that the restaurant opened in 1934 and, as far as I can tell, has always been a breakfast-only joint. What worked? I'd highlight Rockford's interplay with this cast of supporting characters this time. Rocky, the cop Dennis, the lawyer Beth all play scenes back and forth with Jim. I have enjoyed his interplay in the first few episodes with one-off characters, but I am enjoying scenes with some of the close supporting characters as well. What didn't work? I am aware that the car chase is a continuing staple of American film and television, but the car chases in this show were interminably long and somewhat dull. I know that a couple of years ago I watched Bullitt from 1968, which has a car chase considered to be among the most iconic and influential, and it also seemed to be somewhat dull to me. Does one have to be a gearhead to enjoy this, or am I just used to late 70s, early 80s car chases with all the cheesy gimmicks of fruit vendors and workers walking with glass panes? Well, next time is an episode called The Countess. Happy hunting! You have been listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts On podcast, produced by Paul Mackey in association with quadruplez.com. Theme music is Too Good by Jack Mangan and is used by permission from him. If you would like to hear other podcasts by me, you might try the Ghostlight podcast, a completed introcast about the TV series Slings and Arrows, or Idjitcast, an introcast for the TV series Supernatural. Both can be found on fine podcasting listening software everywhere or at quadruplez.com.
Life is tough, but so are we. Let's make our own memories.
Whoever wrote the fish market guy in the answering machine gag may not know fish. Even the smallest halibut, the California halibut, is about 40 pounds each. And Rockford's got multiple ones waiting at the fish market? I don't think so.